Safety, a couple plays of corner, nickel and dime. So nickel and dime are the same thing though. So
How is it when you're trying to learn a new defense as well and a new coordinator and then you have new positions? Are the positions evolving or is this something that you kind of in training camp that are positions that you may be put in?
well, when I try to learn the defense, it helps me if I know what everybody else is doing. So I kind of had an idea what other guys are doing and when the play is called. So it didn't make the transition that much harder.
So it wasn't anything that maybe during the training camp or during the preseason that you guys worked on it, or is it something that was just practice last time before the Saints and
Yeah. I played nickel a couple games, and like I said, dime is pretty much the same as nickel. You're just covering the running back instead of the slot receiver. So the jobs are pretty much the same. So it wasn't too much more learning that I had to do.
one thing that Jim says, even while this defense is struggling, we need to get consistency. That's how teams win. But how does this defense do that? I mean, what is lacking to find that consistency?
Turnovers. I think, and Chip talked to us about that today. You look at any stat, if there's one stat that tells the story of a football game, it's a turnover battle. And we haven't been winning that battle very often. So I think we were -4 this week, and we lost about 20 points. So if we need to get some turnovers on defense to help our offense out.
I know those things turnovers are kind of fickle. You get them in bunches or not getting it at all. But any reason you can put your finger on why you haven't been getting them? Because you were at the beginning of the season.
We just got to come down with the ball. I mean, we had 2 opportunities. I think it was the first drive where a ball got batted. It popped up in the air, but we didn't come down with it. Then there was another opportunity in the end zone where a ball got batted, and we had our hands on it, but we didn't come down with it. So we had a couple opportunities, but we just gotta grab the ball.
When we're looking at Arizona team last year, that turnover battle went in their favor early in Arizona. Just when you look at that offense, how many opportunities does Carson Palmer typically give a defense in a game?
He likes throwing the ball deep, so that's always an opportunity for a DB. You just have to have good technique, good coverage, and make a play on the ball. So any quarterback that likes to throw the ball deep gives the DBs an opportunity. We just got to come down with it.
How about facing David Johnson and how you faced him a month ago? So what do you guys have to do this time around?
I think they've expanded his role since we played him last. We didn't watch too much film on him today, but coach was telling us that he lines up at receiver and they throw him the ball. So that's just something that we have to be prepared for.
Just in terms of how the run defense week after week, what is just the thought process right now on how to fix it?
It's just being disciplined. When the play is called, think about what your job is and do your job. Get in your gap and do what you're coached to do. Anytime there's a big play, somebody doesn't do their job well enough.
Is that, we're in week 9 now. I mean, are you frustrated by that it hasn't come together at this point?
It is frustrating, and there's always one little thing that turns into a big thing. On the big run, somebody was out of their gap, and so that gap was open, obviously, and he hit the hole running, and we weren't able to get it down. So that little thing being 2 feet to the left or the right of what you should have been turns into 75 yards. So that's the stuff that we got to clean up.
You're on your 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 years. I mean, is that part of it that there's been so much learning, new systems, that it's going to take a while for this one to sink in?
I wouldn't say that it's so much learning because that's what we have training camp for. It's just, like I said, you just got to be disciplined when the play is called, do your job. So that's just what we got to do.
Like you said, obviously you know the defense and what's going on around here. Are some of these younger players a part of maybe being out of position, not knowing where their help is around them, or kind of knowing where the weaknesses of the defense are that they need to go in?
You would have to bring up a particular play for me to answer that specifically, but here and there, maybe. I mean, maybe somebody forgets that they have help on the inside, so instead of being outside, now you have 2 guys inside and nobody outside. So that does happen, and that hurts the defense. So we can't let it happen.
You've talked about how different Colin is this year from last year. Specifically, that game last year seemed like a low point for him in Arizona. Hey, can you speak to just any knowledge you have of his mindset now going into this game after what happened last year?
Well, I think he's been through it all. I mean, he came in this league as a backup. I mean, he rose to the top. I mean, to the highest of highs in this league. And then he had a low point, and now he's battling back from that. And I think that's helped him. There hasn't been too much he hasn't seen, too many emotions he hasn't felt. And I think it'll play well for him in the long run.